There's a lot of fun Pokemon games on the Nintendo Switch, but if you were to go online, you would find that most of these games are considered to be polarizing. Specifically, the remakes, Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee and Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl. In my eyes, every single Pokemon game has value and serves a specific purpose. But as we look forward towards the Switch 2 generation, what kind of Pokemon games can we expect to see? Is there a version of Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl that can bring in new audiences but still make older fans happy? Is Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee really that bad? Everyone's clamoring about Pokemon Legends ZA, but I still want them to give us an alternative to Pokemon Bank so I can transfer older Pokemon into my new games and continue to play classic titles like Fire Red and Leaf Green and Heart Gold, Soul Silver. Welcome back to Hidden Power. This is a Pokemon podcast. Here's a pretty heated debate about what kind of games we want to see as Pokemon fans in the next console generation. The way I'm looking at this is that all of these Pokemon games have value and are worth replaying, right?
I think up to number 3, yes.
You guys really don't see any value in replaying 4 or 5 ever?
Oh yeah, you can.
No,
but
no,
I'm not making a joke. I just like
I'm not making a joke either.
You have joke tone.
I literally okay, so I'll be as serious as I
we go.
possibly
Here we
can.
go. Be serious.
I will never play Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee again, and the only way I will play Brilliant Diamond Shining Pearl again is if I want to Nuzlocke it for my channel or something. But Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee, I don't think that I would Nuzlocke that just because I don't think it's not as fun of a game to Nuzlocke because there's less opportunity to lose your Mons, right? So it's not because I like Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee less because I actually liked it more than Brilliant Diamond Shining Pearl. It's purely for entertainment that I would not play it again. Yeah.
What if you
I disagree,
what if you wake up and you're like, I want to play Kanto with Megas?
Then I would say, oh, but there isn't a good game that has Kanto with Megas, so I'll just play Fire Red and Leaf Green instead.
I'm the opposite. I do think that there is a little bit of
the
incentive
overworld
because I never finished Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee, so I want to go back and finish it.
I think if
without
you replayed
catching
it,
anything, I just want to do the battles. That's it.
That's crazy because the whole point of the game is to find the wild Pokemon.
Yep, that's the whole point of the terrible point of the game.
I don't get it. You guys are like
it's trash.
You guys are like grumpy old Lumi more than Soul, grumpy old men.
It makes sense actually.
Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee is,
and that's why we need what's his name?
Could have at least given us the Sevii Islands, man.
So what's an experimental game that you, like if we go to the Switch? That's not experimental anymore. That's just like a game.
No,
it's experimental.
Legends Arceus is
it breaks off from the traditional gameplay. That's all.
I'll give you that. Like Legends Arceus and Let's Go are both catching focused. See, is there any version of a faithful remake that excites you?
Yes, one that has the original dragon and
But that's not faithful then.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, so no. I
need new things. I do not want to play the same thing. I want something new.
I'm actually with you. I like the idea of ports. Please don't. I think with Brilliant Diamond Shining Pearl and Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee, but to a lesser extent, the thing that triggers, for lack of a better way to put it, me so much about those games is that they have the audacity to advertise it as a new game when it is the same as a previous game, arguably. Exactly. I actually don't know how much I paid for Fire Red and Leaf Green because it was given to me. But how much were Game Boy games, y'all?
35.
35? Okay. So it was $35 to play Fire Red. It's $60 to play Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee.
Damn.
Fire Red's better.
That's a good point.
It's $35 or $40 to play Pokemon Platinum. Back then, of course. And it's $60 to play Brilliant Diamond Shining Pearl, which is definitely a lesser version of Platinum. And, so, however, with ports, I think the Virtual Console games were $5 or $10. I think they were $10, right?
Yeah, just port them, bro. Just
$10
port them.
to play Red? Abso-freaking-lutely.
Yeah.
You know? If they had said, hey, it's $40 to play a port of Diamond and Pearl on your Switch, I'd have been down. It's only $20 less, but I'd have been down because, I wonder, at least you're not acting like it's what I said earlier. You're charging the same amount of Sword and Shield, Legends Arceus, Scarlet and Violet. So I'm sorry, I'm going to be expecting that caliber of enjoyment.
But I think what I wonder about is if those ports are going to actually bring in new fans. I won't say my niece, I'll say my nephew, who's even younger, who said his favorite Pokemon is Gigantamax Dreadnought, which is so epic.
It's a based.
When he gets I guess his dad has a Switch. When he grows up, I don't know, maybe next year, right? If there's a new game, I don't know. If they port some games, is he going to be like, oh, interesting, I want to play Gen 5? Or will it require a Gen 5 remake or a Gen 5 port, rather? Or no, what is it? Faithful remake. Yeah, Gen 5.
I think it depends on his age. How old is he?
He's about to turn 6.
Okay. I don't know why I asked that, because honestly I know nothing about children. But I know I'm sitting here thinking, if I'm a huge fan of something, I'm a huge fan of Pokemon, hypothetically, I'm younger. And you know, I'm playing, like, my first Pokemon game was Scarlet and Violet. I'm playing it's Gen 10 now, and they released the first ever Pokemon game. Like, they re-release it. I'm such a huge Pokemon fan. That is such a cool moment to me. I think of it kind of like
huge fan. But you're a huge fan. These people,
if he's a huge fan too, it might be.
He's not a huge fan. He's only been a fan for like 4 months.
Well, then no, it's not going to get him to get it.
Exactly. That's my point. I think.
Okay, but a counterpoint would be, I was talking to a guy yesterday who has a grandson. He was telling me about his grandson, obsessed with Pokemon. He said, his favorite Pokemon is Charizard. Pretty basic. But, like, he was talking about how he said he was talking about for Christmas, he got his grandson Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. And he said his grandkid got a lot of presents for Christmas. His favorite was Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. And I say that to say that, like, that kind of kid who's obsessed with, like he said, anything Pokemon, the kid is absolutely obsessed with it. So if they advertise this is the first ever Pokemon game, I think he would get really excited to play that, because he doesn't have the chance to play it, because it's not on the eShop anymore, because the eShop's dead. He doesn't, if he wants to shell out $1,000, he can get Game Boy and Pokemon Red. But, I think that's the value of them.
The value of a port or a value of a remake?
Of a port with a remake.
Yeah, but I don't
think it will get new people to play it. Like, any more than a remake. No,
if you look at the numbers,
I don't think
remakes
Brilliant Diamond, Shining Pearl. I don't think Brilliant Diamond, Shining Pearl brought in any more new players than Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire did.
Oh, that's true.
Like, faithful versus non-faithful.
No, but I'm not talking.
Why we can't just do Heart Gold and Soul Silver or a style.
You're making a different argument. I'm not saying faithful versus traditional remake. I'm remake versus remaster. Like, I'm not having that debate. I'm talking about ports versus a faithful remake, because they both accomplish the same thing. One makes more money, and one also probably is something that they can say this is a brand new game, which we can disagree with. But anyways, my point.
I think they have pros and cons. Yeah. I think they have pros and cons.
If we look at
you're
Switch
probably right that remasters probably bring in more. Like, remaster is probably more excitement to get more likely to get your nephew.
Kids don't want to play old games. I'm realizing people don't like younger people don't. I'm realizing don't care about the pixel art games. That's what I'm realizing, which sucks.
But also, because it's old, it's not new. So that's.
But I do think there are a lot of people.
That's Soul's point. Soul wants something new.
Yeah,
I do want something new.
But that's why But then that complements his side too. That, like, with a remaster, they're charging it like it's new, and it's not. At least Soul. Would you be? Correct me if I'm wrong. Would you be happy if they ported the games, but sold them 100%. Like ports and not like remasters?
100%.
And I think it would get people back into the franchise, because there are people playing. They got their Switch so they can play Fortnite or whatever, and they used to play Pokemon when they were younger. Now they can relive those childhood memories of playing Red and pick it up again.
Lumi, I love you. You give off such get off my lawn energy. You literally said, "What was it? Fortnite." What are the kids playing? Fortnite.
I don't know what they play nowadays.
I don't know either.
Skyrim.
Yeah, I think. No. Yeah, I think my point. I don't even know why we're making this a tangent, but I think my point is, I think there's value. Honestly, any new core series Pokemon game, if it's offering a new experience, I'll welcome it. I'll give it a shot. I think it has value as long as it's offering a new experience. And I think in most cases, number 5 on our list, Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl, is not offering a new experience. The new experience that it offers is a downgrade in almost every category. I think Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee, downgrade, or downgrade in some categories, but I think it's an upgrade in a lot of categories. So, or at least a sidestep. At least a sidestep. So we can disagree on that. But I think it's overhated, definitely. Basically, what do I look forward to in the next era? We might be deep in the era when you're watching this, but Legends ZA is going to be fun. I want to see more Legends games.
I mean, that's still this era, kind of.
I want to see more ports. I want to see. I don't even know why we're doing this. We do this on every episode. I'd love to see a perfected, faithful remake that actually is basically just like a. Because listen.
Oris.
Yes.
I just don't know why.
Oras is it.
But Oris is not a faithful remake if that's what you're saying, because that's what I was saying. Like,
no, I know, but I'm imagining something that doesn't exist yet. I'm imagining. You can call it whatever you want to call it. I'm calling it. It's a remake.
Use Brilliant Diamond Shining Pearl as an example. Like, what would you change about
Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl exists.
To make it what you're saying.
I want a game in Unova. Pick any region.
Okay, it's Unova. Let's go with Unova for the example.
Faithfully remake it. Make it tactile, tactilely. Like, I'm playing the game and I'm not bumping and getting stuck in walls. I want there to be a polish on this game. It can be a cheaper game, but the trade-off that I feel like you guys never pay attention to is that I don't think they're going to give us all of these Pokemon experiences within 2 years, right? I don't think they're going to drop all of the ports all at once. But if between, instead of getting a gap year, they gave us a Gen 5 remake and it was a polished, I'm not saying a reimagining, but a polished game that upscales the pixel art game of Black and White, and now it's on my Switch OLED, and it's beautiful.
But the content's exactly the same as Black and White?
For more or less, but I think we forget BDSP does add a couple things. I think if we played through the story of Black and White, but now there's like hidden grottos where you can access Pokemon that are not from Gen 5, I'll take that. That's cool.
But that's it. No new Pokemon, no new forms, nothing like that.
Yes,
I'll take that.
I'll take that because that is not removing a game that didn't exist. That is more in line with Heart Gold, Soul Silver as a remake.
You gotta understand Pokemon fans, bro. We want new Pokemon.
No, that game. Great, you have your new Pokemon in new games, but I still want to be able to play my games on my Switch or whatever the new console is. You know, like when
I'm not gonna play it.
Listen. When we get BDSP, you're also getting Legends Arceus. There's no scenario where we've ever gotten BDSP and no Legends Arceus. You got your reimagining of a game, but then you also just get a game that's easy enough.
That wasn't a reimagining of a game. That was a completely new game.
Yes. It's a reimagining of a region.
A similar region, really.
Yeah, it's a reimagining of a new region. Yeah.
Yeah, like, so that's what I'm saying is, like, versus, like, saying Legends Arceus is, like, the same as Oris is crazy, you know?
No, they're different games.
It's the same region. It's basically it is the same plot. Yeah. But now there are, we took some features that are introduced in the modern games, and we put it in here, and we've also expanded on it, because, sure, you like Mega Evolutions. Here's more of them. Yeah. You know, that's all I need.
You know, I get that. I get that.
Faithful Gen 5... Faithful Gen 5 remake, but they put all the megas in it that they may or may not get in Legends ZA.
I think,
and the original dragon.
Yeah,
that's it.
I think
that's good.
I think Diamond and Pearl are bad when they Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl are bad because they are faithful remakes of bad games. But I think a faithful remake of a game that's already good is essentially just a remake.
I don't feel that Diamond and Pearl were bad.
They're bad. They're literally inherently bad when you compare it to the third version.
Bad.
I don't
sure.
Everything that you don't like about Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl is bad in Diamond and Pearl. You said you can't get Pokemon and evolve them until post-game.
Yes,
that is Diamond and Pearl.
But
that's a problem with Diamond and Pearl.
I'm going to rate that, but I'm going to... It's exactly what I said earlier. If Red and Blue released right now as a new game, it would suck.
Yeah.
And so that's the thing, is I'm rating these games of their time. So Diamond and Pearl, you're 100% correct, and I will never argue otherwise. It is bad it is bad that they did not have the new Pokemon accessible. But I'm going to rate that even harder on Brilliant Diamond Shining Pearl, because, okay, now you're a game that came out 20 years later and you made the same mistake?
Yeah. I think, yeah. I'm just trying. I have faith. I'm looking at Switch 2. I'm thinking about it, about what kind of games we could get in the future. And I'm always looking at this like a new game with a new experience does not mean we lost something. What that means is Game Freak was never going to give it to us, but this is an alternative. Pokemon Works, Ilka, whatever team they want to work with to develop these side games, they're extras, they're bonuses. You can take them or leave it.
Did we lose something though? Because
I don't think we lost it. No, I don't.
We were normally getting remakes no matter what. So
yes, but yeah,
we should be getting a Gen 5 remake that's like ORAS, or like at minimum like Soul Silver. I imagine, I think it'd be very feasible for them to make a faithful remake for Black and White, and then Black and White 2, and then an actual new game, just like we got an actual new game for the Sinnoh if they pair them together. For
Black 3 and White 3.
If they pair them together, sure.
No,
but it also makes the other one terrible. It just diminishes the other one. Like I said, it just like softens the blow when we were talking about BDSP. Like,
I don't know. Again, what I'm imagining is not what we got with BDSP. I'm imagining just like, I want to be able to go to these different regions and play through the campaign and play through the region and collect the Pokemon on my Switch, on my TV. And I can do that in the older games, but if going into Switch 2, we didn't talk about this. Pokemon Bank is going to be fried eventually, right? If we get these new experiences, a faithful remake for Gen 5, a faithful remake for Gen 2, whatever. Pick your poison. A HD port of X and Y, right? Those games are now going to be compatible with Pokemon Home. That's cool. That's what I want. That's what my vision for the Switch 2 era of Pokemon games.
I'd rather just freaking port it the same way you did.
No, I know,
and all that.
And yes, yeah. I guess we're
either. I don't don't think we'll agree.
Either do it right or don't do it at all.
Yeah. No, listen, no. I think I'm. I think you're right. What would I want? I think a port. I'd rather take a port. Do I think they're going to give us a port for every single Pokemon game? I don't think so. I think we have a chance for like the Game Boy games to get ported because they're so old and removed from what a current game looks like. Like they're retro, right? Game Boy Advance is retro. I think DS kind of teeters on that line, and that's why we ended up with Diamond and Pearl, Shining BDSP, right?
Yeah.
And I'm like, I look at Gen 6 and 7, and I'm like, they could give us HD ports. They could give us a faithful remake of X and Y. I could see it.
Oh God, no, please.
But it's the same thing. I feel like a faithful remake of X and Y is just X and Y. Like the art style of BDSP is kind of what X and Y is.
Just port it though. Like don't remake it. Just port it.
But that's true. I'll take it.
Because my thing is, if you were going to make the effort of, because if they remaster it, like if they do what you're saying, they are still building a game from scratch. They have the like design already laid out. But if you're going to go through the effort of making a new game, dude, all you have to do is like, Pokemon fans, honestly, we're pretty simple to please. We really are. Throw in 10 new Pokemon.
I don't know. You guys are complaining.
Throw in
you guys
10
are
new
simple.
Pokemon.
You listen. I'm with you. New Pokemon is great. That is simple, but also that's a lot of investment in development, in time and effort, and money and blood and sweat and tears.
But you know what?
To create new Pokemon,
you'll get more money from it. You know?
I don't know.
The trade-off is you add 10 new Pokemon and you tell me, hey, you can actually get Electivire in this Kanto remake. You
do
things like
no. Listen, I get that. I get that.
The more
is even
investment
generous.
you put in the game, it's the reason that new gens do better than remakes, because there is more work put into a new generation. The more work you put in, the more you get out.
Yes, but like a fraction of the work for a much larger fraction of profit of a new Pokemon game is also on the table for them. And I think that funding, maybe, I don't really know, could go towards the development. At least it goes to Game Freak, which then could be funneled to the development of a new game. All I'm saying
the proceeds of Game Freak versus Ilka with Brilliant Diamond Shining Pearl.
Yeah. That would be interesting to know.
Because Game Freak did definitely get some money for it because they own the original property.
Less though, they got less for sure.
Junichi just gets like all of the money. He just gets like a fat 50% for being a director.
He would get a decent bit because he practically directed it, didn't he?
Yeah, he did. He was the director. Yeah. I guess maybe I'm not even being clear. I think I just look at the future of Pokemon games, and I think the highest performing games, the new generations, still have so much to offer. They still fall flat. They're buggy. I don't know. I feel like the promise of Pokemon they're not delivering on, right? Even if we love Scarlet and Violet and Sword and Shield and we have fun with them, they're still not really optimal for what it could be, right? For the largest grossing media franchise in the world. So I think my vision for Gen 10 and beyond in the Switch 2 era, give us a Pokemon game that is structural, that is art direction, that is pretty, that functions and doesn't break, right? And in the medium, in the gap years or the years that would be gap years, give us an HD port, give us some regular ports, right? Give us some of these, I'm loving all the events, right? Maybe slap on a DLC, right, to the core series game. Like
it's just all about how
I'll take these little experiences on the side.
It's all about how they portray it and
the execution of it.
Just in general, like if they tell me like this is just meant to like kind of hold you over somehow, it's not like, oh, this is our new big thing. Then
but they're gonna say that regardless.
Yeah, that's terrible because it gets you hype and you're like, oh, I'm ready for the new big thing, and then it's just a port reskin.
I think that's a big part of their problem, and I think that's been a big part of their problem with the Switch era specifically.
Yeah,
is I think that they are borderline false advertising their games. Like they're not telling like an outright lie, but they are purposefully leading their audience to believe something that's not going to happen. They are purposefully hyping up aspects of things that are not going to, come to fruition or do anywhere near what they say. And I think that's kind of shady. And also I do think my bottom line problem is always going to be the same. And that is that, if you're going to slap a price tag on that game, you need to make sure it's the right price tag. And if Brilliant Diamond Shining Pearl is $60 and Legends Arceus is $60, one of those is wrong.
Yeah, for sure.
I just Googled HD ports for Zelda. And I feel like there's a bunch of these that have been released over the years. How many times have they repackaged?
That I have not bought.
Woo! But you haven't bought it because
why would I play it again?
But listen, I agree with you, but I also don't, because I don't think you're considering the wider population, right?
No, I'm not. I'm considering me.
Yeah. Which is good. That's fine. But I'm just saying, like, people who are in high school right now don't have these games. They don't have an N64. They don't have a GameCube or a Wii.
I get that, but I don't understand why like other people buy them again. Like I don't get it.
Well, for ease of access to play it in HD, right? Because they like the game, right?
I guess it is all about graphics at the end, huh?
Yeah, it's all about presentation. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. If you want to support us on Patreon or YouTube, you can become a member. $5 gets you into the door, into the secret Discord, and you get access to, I want to say 50 hours of content. There's got to be over 50 hours of content.
Probably over.
Of bonus content. So if you're in the gym, you're going back to school, you going back to work, and you need a buddy, you want to hear us yap on your long commute, that would help the show a lot. Appreciate it. Thank you guys so much. Let us know in the comments what your favorite Switch era Pokemon game is. All right? I'll see you guys. See you next week.
Peace.
Bye.